For today's review, we are looking at the Mcfarlane Collector Edition Wonder Woman. Now, before I dive into talking about the accessories and, of course, the figure, as usual with how I like to start most of my DC figure reviews, let's take a quick look at the data profile card that is included. As you can see, there is this beautiful comic book artwork of Wonder Woman. Her real name is Diana, and it reads, "Raised on the hidden island of Themyscira, Princess Diana is an Amazon and her people's gift to humanity. As Themyscira's emissary to man's world, Diana has made it her duty to lead by example. She has come to represent the possibility and potential of life without war, hate, or violence. And she is a beacon of hope to all who find themselves in need." And that's a pretty good read-up on who Wonder Woman is as a character. Now, let's talk about the accessories that are included with this figure, and let's start with the interchangeable hands. As you can see on the figure, she does have two fist hands, which is great because if you don't want her to use her weapons and you want her to throw down the good old-fashioned way, you do have that as an option. She also comes with two item holding hands, or trigger finger hands as I like to call these. You can have her dual wield two swords, you can have her dual wield two battle axes. Those are options you can use for these hands. She also comes with these two open gesture hands, as I like to call them. Pretty neat. And in total, you get 6 interchangeable hands. As for her weapons, she does come with her sword. And I like the way that the gold is painted on the hilt area in this brighter color, because I think it's supposed to match with the gold on the figure, kinda. So that's pretty cool. And for the blade part of the sword, it can definitely be improved with a little bit more of a metallic silver paint to make it a little bit more shinier. And I don't know why I haven't done this yet, because I've had this figure for quite some time now. And for some reason, I've never gotten to this part, which is such a simple thing to do. So I should probably do that. So there's that. She also comes with her battle axe, which of course has the same gold color paint for the handle. And up here, you do have these sculpted details for the blade part of the battle axe, which is really cool. And it's on both sides. And again, you can do some customization to this to make it look better than it is. So yeah. And of course, she does come with her shield. And I like the way that the shield is sculpted. I like all these sculpted details on here, which is present. Now, I don't know what they're supposed to be exactly. But yeah, all the sculpting details are there. So if you are a customizer, you could probably do some sort of contrast with the colors here and make the front part look pretty decorative or something if you want to. Now, I do like the fact that her emblem is like front and center on the shield, and it's big, so that's pretty cool. On the back here, you do have the straps for the shield. Unfortunately, they were lazy with how they painted this at the time when this figure came out. And instead of, painting it with the brown color or some sort of color to make it look like whatever the material is, they just painted it all gray color, and it looks very generic and boring. So, again, customization can fix this. So, yeah. All right, that is a shield. And of course, Wonder Woman wouldn't be complete without her lasso of truth. And with this release, they actually gave us a sort of string-like material for the lasso, which is the first time they've ever done this, because with previous lassos of truths in the past, they have either been pre-sculpted molds that just goes on the figure for her to carry, or a pre-sculpted thinner plastic material that doesn't really work for the figure, and you can't really do much with it. But in this case, this one is actually useful, because if you want to tie up her enemies or something and, kind of make it look like she's making them tell the truth, you can, because the beautiful thing about this particular lasso is that it is a string-like material. So you have that freedom. So much better than some of the previous lassos we have gotten before. And if you want to count these as accessories, you can. She does come with her figure stand as well, which all these figures come with. But in this case, I would have preferred if she came with a flight stand because, you know, Wonder Woman can fly. So, and of course, since this is a collector edition figure, you do get the stupid card stand that I think is a waste of plastic. And that is basically all the accessories that are in this box. Now, let's talk about the figure. In my honest opinion, when it comes to a traditional comic book Wonder Woman figure, this is probably going to be the best one that we will ever get from Mcfarlane Toys as that definitive comic book Wonder Woman figure for the shelf. I know that they are releasing a page puncher version of Wonder Woman in the next page puncher wave, but that particular design looks more like a classic design where it would fit more with the more classic looking characters than some of the more modern comic book figures. In this case, this one just fits more with, I would say, kind of like the in-between the modern and the classic. That's how I see this particular Wonder Woman figure. So, of course, the body buck here is not new. This is a reuse of the Donna Troy Crime Syndicate body buck, which, in my opinion, works for a Wonder Woman figure. And I'm glad that they reuse that body buck in particular. Now, is this body buck better? It's okay. It has its flaws. It's not perfect, but for a Wonder Woman, it definitely works. All right, let's start talking about some of the details here. I do like the sculpted emblem for her bird logo thing on her costume here. I like the fact that it's painted in this like kind of shiny gold color. And also down here with the belt, it is also a sculpted piece with that similar paint color as well. As for the red part of her costume, I like that they use this shiny sort of red color that kind of does look like metallic red. That's what it looks like to me. And there is like these sculpt line details on here because I'm assuming this sort of corset, as I would like to call this, is actually armor and it's not some sort of cloth material, because all these sculpt lines here gives it away like it looks like some sort of armor piece, as you can see how those lines all connect to the back. And then of course down here with this part of her costume, which I would not call an underwear, I don't know what to call it, you do get the stars that are present in the details there as well. Now, for some reason, my particular copy of this figure, I don't know if it's every one of your copies, the material that they use down here for this part of the plastic is not good. It feels kind of weird, just like touching it from even the front side, because it's very dust attractive from what I've noticed. And every time I have to clean this figure, this part gets dusty right away. Like the dust sticks on here. So I don't know what's going on there, like if it's just my copy or if it's other people's copies as well. But not a really good plastic material for this part of her costume, which I don't like at all with the plastic there. So, but in terms of details, yeah, the stars are all present, so they did get that correct. And as you can see right here with the belt part, you do have the hook right here. So if you want to, you know, have her carry the lasso, you can. Let me try to get this on there. So yeah, there you go. You can get her to carry it on the side if you want to. So that is an option. And for her legs down here, the skin tone, from what I can tell, is pretty nicely done. I like the fact that there is a contrast with the skin tone where her knees are to the lower part of her legs and the upper part of her thighs, which is pretty cool. And of course, they did retool the bottom part of her legs with her boots between the other version of the figure that introduced this body buck, right? As you can see right there, it's not the same. So you do get her white and red boots. As for the arms here, you do get the gauntlet. And of course, it could be painted a little bit better than what they used, because the gauntlets are supposed to be metal and it should be shiny, right? As we've seen in many comic depictions. As for her head sculpt, I like the way that her face sculpt came out. Now, I know it's a little bit different from the initial reveal photo that they posted when they announced this figure, and I noticed that too. So I know some people probably don't like this exact face sculpt for her. They would have preferred the one they saw on that photo, and I would as well. But I don't know what happened behind the scenes, and I think for this figure, this face sculpt isn't too bad. I know it can be better, but you know, since we're not getting another version of this sort of Wonder Woman figure, this is what we gotta live with. So I've accepted it, and the more I look at it, the more it doesn't look that bad. It looks good enough for what it is, in my opinion. She does have her tiara with the red star in the center, and for her hair sculpt, it is painted in the black color paint, but there are some dark blue highlights, and I don't know if my camera is going to pick up on that, but yeah, it does exist. And the hair sculpt is pretty good, but it will hinder articulation for sure. And that is pretty much all the aesthetics on this figure, because, there's not much else to talk about on here. It's a very simple looking figure. Most of the details are present that it pretty much gets the job done for this Wonder Woman figure. Now, in terms of articulation, let's start with the head sculpt. As I've said, the hair does get in the way. In terms of looking down, she can look down, which is not too bad. She can't look up, which is unfortunate because of the hairpiece. She can turn her head to the side, so it doesn't really get in the way completely, so that's good, right? As for her arms, they do go out. They can go back and forth like this. There is a swivel up here with the bicep, but it is very tight on my copy, but it does move if you heat it up. She does have double jointed in the arms. She does have swivel in the hands, and of course articulation in the wrists, and there is a swivel with that joint as well. As for her torso, as you notice, it is one entire piece. So in this case, most of the articulation is going to come from the waist part of this figure, which is down here. It does have a tightness to it, but it does move, as you can see. It can lean back, so that's good. In terms of leaning forward, you're not going to get much with the leaning forward. So that is a bad thing right there. So, but leaning back, she can do that. So, all right, let's talk about the leg articulation. As for spreading out her legs, I would say that's almost a full split right there. That is a pretty good spread when it comes to her leg articulation. Again, some figures can't even spread their legs out this much, but this one can, so that is pretty impressive. As for kicking forward, that's a pretty freaking good kick right there, right? So that's amazing. And then in terms of double joint, she does have that, but of course the little part right here does look kind of ugly. She does have articulation in the feet. She does have swivel down here and also swivel up there about the joint. And she does have toe articulation. And in terms of upper thigh swivels, they are non-existent on this figure. So that is pretty much all the articulation on this Wonder Woman figure. And now, let me put on some of her accessories so we can do some comparisons. So let's start with swapping out the this hand right here. I'm going to do this off camera because these hands are really freaking tight when they get onto the ball peg. All right. Let me try to get her to hold her sword. Give me a minute here. This is quite a tedious thing because her hands are so freaking tiny, and because the sword handle is like thicker, it doesn't even look like it's meant to fit in these hands, which is kind of the funny part, but they do fit in the hands once you get it in there. So why is this always such a pain to do every single time? Every single time. I do apologize for this. I do want to... There we go. There we go. I got it on. Okay, that's one side. And then let me put her shield arm on. The shield. There we go. And then, of course, last but not least, let's get the lasso on there, kind of. To the best of my ability. Okay, that works. So there she is with her accessories, kinda in the not the greatest way, but as you can see, the shield does go on the arm, and it doesn't look good on the arm because her hands can't hold those handles. So you're gonna have to leave them on like this, kinda, most of the time. So that is not good, but at least it can stay on the arm. And now let's have her right here. Let's hope she doesn't fall over. And let's do some comparisons because we got quite a lot of comparisons to do. So let me kind of just get her front and center right here. There she is. Okay, let's start with some figures. Let's start with the figures that share the same body buck as her. So of course you do have the Donna Troy Crime Syndicate figure right here, which introduced this body buck. And you can see that, you know, there's quite a lot of differences between these two figures in terms of their design. And she looks a little bit taller than she does because of the fact that they resculpted the boots. So there's that. And of course, recently, Power Girl also reused this particular body buck. And for some reason, she doesn't want to stand. And they made her boots even taller, so now she's taller than Wonder Woman. So, yeah. But again, this body buck works for some characters. I wouldn't say for all of them, but in this case, with all three of these figures, it does work for them. So that is good to see. And now, here she is with Donna Troy. Not the bad version, the actual good guy version, Donna Troy. So yeah, pretty cool. These two can go together on the shelf now, because for a while, when this figure came out first, I believe, there was really no Wonder Woman you can really put her next to when it comes to that traditional Wonder Woman figure. So, pretty cool to see that these two can go together on the shelf pretty well. And now, let's bring in some other figures. Let's see. Okay, let's have her next to Supergirl, the most recent Supergirl figure. I say these two work on the shelf as well. I mean, they are comic book designs, so there's that. And then, of course, if you want her next to the Silver Age Superman figure that came out recently, you can as well. So that's another good option. Now, let's go down the rabbit hole of all these other comic book Wonder Woman figures that I do have. And let's start with the Last Night on Earth Wonder Woman figure, which this is actually one of my favorite Wonder Woman figures because this is like the first one that I picked up a long time ago. And I know some people probably don't like the whole mohawk hairstyle, whatever is going on with the design. But honestly, I love the way that this figure came out. And for the source material that it's based from, it just had a really cool design. So I probably might do a video on this one in the future. But yeah, there she is with this one. And then my other favorite Wonder Woman figure, of course, is the death metal version. Is she gonna stand? Oh no, she's not gonna stand. Yeah, they got trouble standing. So yeah, pretty cool. Again, another Wonder Woman figure that they did a really good job with when it comes to sculpting and just overall, another good one for the shelf. And of course, we got the Flashpoint Wonder Woman figure right here. Very different in design, right? So you do have that. And here she is next to the Endless Winter Wonder Woman. I did swap out the heads because this body buck was from the Target exclusive version of the re-release of the Endless Winter Wonder Woman figure. So, but yeah, pretty cool. And also very different. And of course, last but not least, here she is next to the Todd Design Wonder Woman. So, yeah. All of these Wonder Woman figures have been pretty good. in their own way. They're all different and unique, but none of them really worked for that sort of traditional sort of Wonder Woman look when it comes to a comic book Justice League shelf. So when this figure finally released, it was basically like everything was in place. So there it is. That is our look at this Wonder Woman figure for today's video. If you found this review enjoyable, do give this video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel for more action figure content and whatever else I do on here, you can. You don't have to. In the end of the day, I make these videos for fun. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.